Morning.
Morning.
My name is Sasha. I'm your guide and driver for your photo safari through the Harambee Wildlife Reserve. I do ask everyone to please remain seated whenever the truck's moving, and please don't lean out the windows. We're going to be passing rough brush with nasty thorns. Don't want anyone getting snagged and hurt. If you have adjustable settings on your cameras, go ahead and put them on an action setting like sports. Animals out there moving around. And hold on tight to those cameras because we're not allowed to stop in the reserve in order to retrieve anything dropped off the truck. It's too dangerous to get out and get it. So if you drop something over the side, you can raise your hand. I'll raise mine and we can both wave goodbye to it. Harambee Reserve was established in 1971 to protect local wildlife. Over the years, the animals have gotten used to us. They don't run and hide anymore from us, which makes for great photo opportunities. However, we're entering the reserve through the Little Ituri Forest here, crossing the Ituri River, and the animals in the forest can blend in with their surroundings and be hard to see when they're not right out in the open. So keep your eyes open, watch for movement in the bushes, and you'll see some animals. Way in the corner over there, across the river on the right, there's an okapi. Okapis are rare reclusive animals. They live in dense jungle and are very seldom seen. There's another one right behind the bamboo here coming out. There we go. Despite the stripes on the okapis, they're not related to zebras at all. They're actually the only living relative of the giraffe. They're the forest members of the giraffe family. And you can tell by looking at their heads, you see the family resemblance. Now, little animal back there towards the fence, with the stripe on its back, looks like a little pig. That's actually an antelope. It's a yellowback duiker. Duikers are tiny forest antelopes. The yellowbacks are the largest duikers. And duikers Afrikaans for diver. They call them that because if you get too close, they dive into the bushes. Watering holes like the one on the left often give us a chance to see rare animals we might not otherwise encounter. Everybody comes down for a drink sooner or later during the day. That gives us an opportunity sometimes, like the black rhinoceros across the water here. There's one over there on the left and one right in front of us.
Yeah, like that.
The black rhinoceros is one of the most endangered species in Africa. Hundreds of thousands have been killed for their horns. As a result, there's only about 5,000 black rhinos left in all of Africa, and even on reserves, they're not completely safe from poaching. The black rhino's not really black, it's actually gray underneath the mud, like all rhinos are gray. And he's showing off one of the distinguishing features of the black rhino. It's that upper lip. It's pointed and prehensile. It's like a finger. They use it to browse through the brush, picking berries. That's the main difference between black rhinos and other rhinos.
I don't know how to get it up.
Now, all rhinos wallow in the mud in order to coat their skin to protect it from parasites and insects. And the mud here in the forest is usually black, so that's how the forest rhino got the name black rhino. If you look down the slope of the hill over there on the far right, there's a gray antelope laying down there in the bushes. That's a greater kudu female. Greater kudus are the largest antelope in the forest. The males can weigh 750 pounds and have huge horns. The females don't grow horns, and they only reach about 500 pounds. The big rust-colored antelope at the top of the hill over here are bongos. Bongos are known as the ghosts of the forest. They can move through the brush so quietly you don't hear them coming, so they seem to appear suddenly out of nowhere like ghosts. And they love to sneak up on you. Now we're crossing over the hill to the Safi River. The Safi River is a gathering place for Nile hippos. The Nile hippopotamus is one of the largest animals in Africa. Baby hippos weigh 85 pounds when they're born. A full-grown adult male hippo can tip the scale somewhere between 5,000 and 6,000 pounds. Hippos spend their days in the water resting and sleeping. They come out in the evening to graze on the grasses along the riverbanks during the night. Hippos are herbivores like cattle. They feed on grass. An adult can consume about 150 pounds of grass in one night. Hippos can stay submerged underwater 5 to 10 minutes at a time. So watch for bubbles. You never know when one's going to surface for air. See some over here on the left by the island. The big birds on the island are pink-backed pelicans. They're unique amongst pelicans. They're the only ones that nest and roost in trees. All other pelicans nest and roost on rocks and cliffs. Here's some hippos at this end of the island. Get a closer look at them.
Wow.
These are females. We're coming up to an old bridge that we have to cross. Like most old bridges, it can be dangerous. So everybody hang on. There are crocodiles under the bridge in the river here. Those are Nile crocodiles. They're one of the largest freshwater crocodiles. These guys can reach over 20 feet long and weigh over 2,000 pounds. They're larger, stronger, far more aggressive, and far more dangerous than their American alligator cousins. Okay, looks like we made it across safely. Didn't lose anybody this time. So let's move on. As we cross over the hill here, we'll be leaving the forest behind us and entering into the savanna. The savanna is a whole different ecosystem with lots of different animals. Now we're coming up to my favorite view of the savanna. You can see the grasslands all the way out to the horizon from up here. The Serengeti grasslands extend for hundreds of miles, and they act as a major highway for migratory animals. They're also permanent home to our more familiar African animals, like giraffes, elephants, lions. This is the wild Africa we're trying very hard to conserve. Landscape here in the savanna is actually created by the animals who live here. Elephants act as bulldozers. They knock down the trees in order to feed on the leaves and the bark and the hearts of the trees, and that opens up space for the grass to grow. Giraffes act as pruning shears. They trim the lower branches on the trees, opening up the canopy, letting light in for the grass. Large grazing animals like antelopes and white rhinos mow the grass by eating it. Little nibblers like gazelles and warthogs trim up the edges. In a well-balanced natural system like this, there's always enough food for everyone. The tall cone-shaped mounds of earth on either side of the road are termite mounds. They're hard as concrete. For that reason, elephants like to use them for scratching posts. They're harder to knock down than the trees are. Eventually, though, all that rubbing and scratching wears them down. When they're worn down to the size of the one on the right, then the antelope use them as observation points. They'll station a member of the herd up on the mound to watch for predators in the tall grass while the herd's grazing, and warn the herd if there's any danger coming. So keep your eyes open. You never know what's lurking in the grass.